Well, good morning. It is May the 10th, and we did have some rain over the weekend. Now, it didn't amount to a whole lot. I still don't have a rain gauge set up, but I think it was just a couple millimeters, but it came down slow enough over the last 2 days. It soaked in really well. There's almost no puddling or anything like that. It's not overly muddy. Just a nice little dampness to everything here this morning. And you can see this barley is up and doing pretty good. So this is just starting to come into two-leaf stage now. You can see that second leaf is just starting to emerge there. So that's doing pretty good. We got nice clear rows down the field now. Everything here is looking pretty good so far. Well, here's some Cantera 2600 that's been seeded. This got seeded just, I believe it was just prior to the rain on the weekend here. So it's sitting in good moisture at a good depth now. It's about just under 3/4 of an inch. So with that moisture, we should get pretty good rapid germination now here in these warmer soils. We should have a few days of nice weather, so that'll really help things get popped and get going. So I'm going to cover this up, and then I'm going to head over to Picture Butte, and I'm going to get my vaccination. So yay science. Well, here in this barley field, we have some new emerging weeds. This is buckwheat. So you can see these stereotypical lanceolate style cotyledons, and that first true leaf is kind of often a reddish purple color when it comes out. But pretty soon, that first leaf as it comes out is going to adopt that specific shape that we associate so much with buckwheat, but that's how it looks like at the cotyledon stage. There's also quite a bit of lambsquarters is just starting to appear here. You can see the first true leaf just barely starting to unfold in the middle there with that trademark mealy appearance to it. So that's what this is. Other than that, in this field, there's just a bunch of volunteer canola that's trying to come up here and there, and nothing unusual about that. Well, here we got some nice looking winter wheat. This is out by Nobleford, and it is up into the 4th leaf stage now, so doing very well, and that brings it into the window for herbicide application. So it's not a moment too soon. We got some pretty big flicks weeds going on in this field, as well as emerging buckwheat. There's Canada thistle, there's dandelion, there's patches of wild oats that are group 1 resistant. So there's a bit of everything in this field. So we're going to be hitting this with CS100 2525 from the FMC Precision Pack machine. Throw in some perimeter and some 2,4-D in there as well, and we'll get really good weed control in here, and we should be done with weeds for the year in here. Well, here we got some pretty thick patches of wild oats, and these little guys are just popping out of the ground here, still single leaf stage, which is going to make them hard to hit with a herbicide. But it's too late to hit these anyways, because the crop is actually starting to emerge, although it's hard to make out in the rows here. But this barley is just coming out of the ground. So of course that means the wild oats are basically going to be similar staging, which means we're going to have to be pretty good on our timing to get these guys under control. Being a barley field, it means we're going to have to use in group 1 herbicide, such as something like Axial or Achieve, to get them under control in crop, but that won't be for several weeks yet. Here's some more potatoes going in the ground today. This farm, I believe, is getting fairly close to probably 75% completion. And I think everything's going good. We'll be able to follow along on these during the season. Well, here we got lots more little yellow peas are starting to come up. Some of these are getting up to 1 and 2 node stage now. So these ones in my hand here are basically 1 node stage. Second set of clam leaves is just starting to open on some of these. I don't see any sign of pea leaf weevil damage in here at all this year, which is nice to see. And yeah, just other than the odd Canada thistle here and there, there's very little for weeds. We did spray Authority in here, which is going to keep most of the annual weeds under control, but unfortunately does nothing for Canada thistle. Well, we're getting a nice little pop-up rain shower here today. It was nice to see. Originally this was removed from the forecast, and yeah, next thing you know it's raining, and then they add it back in afterwards. So yeah, I love these weather forecasts this year. Well, down here by Welling, if you look down the rows in this Durham field, you can see these bright green patches, and these are all wild oats. So really easy to tell that you need to use a graminicide in crop when you have a stand of wild oats like that. All right, we're out in the field here today with Stirling Mitchell from Syngenta, and he's going to go over Moddus growth regulator.
Hello, so my name is Stirling Mitchell, like Lyle said, and we're standing here in a field of winter wheat just by Nobleford, Alberta. Taking a look for staging for Moddus. So most of the PGR that's most effective when applied between growth stage 30 and 32. So that's what we call early elongation of the stem in our cereal grains. So the easiest way to tell elongation is to look at the nodes on the plant. And basically we want to see the first node coming out to see for growth stage 30. We want to see that node get a little bit of distance for growth stage 31. And for growth stage 32, we see 2 nodes with distance between. So on this particular winter wheat plant here, we have found, this is an average representation of the field, the first nodes roughly within a ½ inch of the crown. So with it being that close, this is still considered growth stage 30, very close to entering into 31. With Moddus, the most effective timing is towards the later part of that window. So we're going to wait for this wheat to hit into a solid growth stage 31 and early 32 before we go ahead and apply Moddus. And that'll shorten the first and second internodes and really lead us to a plant that's built very strong at the bottom, somewhat like a fishing pole and able to withstand the southern Alberta winds.
Oh, more things I find in fields. Oh, Westward. Decent brand too. Well, here's some little mallow seedlings. These little guys are just kind of coming up, and their cotyledons actually kind of look like buckwheat leaves. Like they're the kind of that, you know, arrowhead shape. But pretty soon that first true leaf is going to come out. Then you'll see that stereotypical kind of serrated round leaf is going to come out. And that's what mallow looks like when it comes up. Well, here by Lethbridge, you can see we got a little bit of a soil crusting issue. This is barley, and it is forcing its way through pretty well. It's just going to slow it down a little bit. But it is good to see the pivot running on here regardless. A quick pass of the pivot will quickly alleviate any soil crusting issues. Well, it's a beautiful day out there today, so let's get the KLR fired up and go check some fields. Always a way more fun way.
So I better get on down the road, fast as I can go. Gonna let these big wheels roll, crank up that radio, pull my hat down low, get on down the road. Yeah, there's places that I wanna see, and there's people that I need to meet, and there's parties I should be tending to. So if I find some pretty girl who rings my bell and rocks my world, I say, baby, I'm just passing through.
As you can see, the fall rye here by Colhurst is doing fantastic. It's very, very nice and healthy, growing really fast. We're well into stem elongation now. The nodes are rising up, and right here by my thumb is one of the heads. So that head is now almost halfway up the stem. So that's doing pretty good, and you can see for height, it's already halfway up my motorcycle wheels there. So it is definitely coming along. Well, here's the DJI Agras 20, just checking out a demonstration of this. Still not legal to spray pesticides, but you could do fertilizers or growth regulators. So I'll show you some drone footage of that.
The drone is about to take off. Please keep your distance. Take off.
And that'll be it for this week, folks. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon out here. You can see we do have the odd thunderstorm out there kind of coming off the mountains, but overall things are looking really nice. There's hardly even a breath of wind out here. It's about 16, 17 degrees. Really good growing conditions, so we're going to see a lot more growth the next week. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.